And thank you for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. It's time for you to be part of the conversation. This is the front pages where we take a look at these stories, making the headlines on the front page of the various newspapers from here in Nigeria. Well, joining us this morning is Deyemi Saka, Public Affairs Analyst. Good to have you here. Good morning. Good morning. I guess we have a lot to talk about. So many issues. First off, I hope you're not arguing with anybody, like what we saw.
No.
House of.
No, I'm not.
You're not. Right.
I'm a
Because I
gentle
think
guy.
Olive was arguing earlier on, so I wanted to be sure that. you're not
Olive will
joining.
just extend the olive branch.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wearing olive green.
Wow. Okay, that's why I will take my leave.
Hey, oh, leave me.
No, you can't. But we'll be glad. It's just, so it's going to be Olive and I will banter out.
But yes, I mean, go on with the front page.
3 is a crowd.
2 is
Wow,
a crowd.
wow, wow,
Okay,
wow,
then you
wow,
have the
wow.
callers, the viewers who would definitely call in. Anyway,
Wow.
let's get into the papers. Let's start off with the Punch. Let's see what it says. It says federal government projects massive food price crash in January. Yes, I saw that story, and people kept asking, which country or what country are you talking about? New measures will address high food costs, says Agriculture Minister. Imported food commodities will be subjected to recommended retail price, according to federal government. Okay. Labour meets Tinubu, insists on 250,000 naira minimum wage. Another one, local government fund. Supreme Court decides federal government suit against governors today. And I think I'm going to say this, I don't want to be a predictor or predictor of bad or good news, but I think it's going to go to the local government. I think it's going to go their way.
There's been a lot of judgments in that regard, and it's always been going to the local government. Maybe a new addition to it.
I feel that way. Reps panel quizzes minister alleges 1.5 billion naira diversion. And then let's take one last story here. Tinubu swears in 8 permanent secretaries. Many more are coming in. Many more permanent secretaries. Anyway, that's fine. One last story for me. A businessman bags life jail for raping daughter in Lagos. Oof. Very sad. Let's go to the Daily Independent now, and let's see what Daily Independent has in store as well.
On the front page of the Daily Independent, the big story there, bread beyond reach, citizens lament. Thankfully, the Holy Book says, man shall not live by bread alone. Okay, that was another paper. I'll come back to that one, and I must use that line again. NSAS protest. ECOWAS court slams federal government, finds it guilty of rights violations. Hardship. Tinubu has closed doors to ministers, National Assembly members, according to Ndume. PDP warns embattled lawmakers not to disrupt peace in Rivers. Tinubu, minimum wage. Tinubu meets labor leaders today. That minimum wage conversation is already getting exhausting at this point. It just feels like we're going in circles and circles. INEC confirms Edozie Njoku as APGA National Chair. Be fair, upright, CGN urges 21 inaugurated appeal court justices. Marwa promotes 5,042 NDLEA officers, honors 15 commands and 70 personnel. Reports on Samoa Agreement. Federal government angry, says it was designed to cause confusion in the land. Tinubu swears a new set of permanent secretaries. Livestock Ministry won't stop herders, farmers clashes. Northern youths say it will swell cost of governance. We've started preparing our 2025 budget, according to Governor Fubara. Is the energy for me? I saw the clip when he said he has moved on from 2024. If you like, people can say what you are saying. Court can say what he's saying. He's not representing any, okay, I wanted to use one word, any budget. He has moved on to 2025. Has he even implemented the 2024 budget that he has moved on from? Please, let's move on from the Daily Independent and go to the next newspaper.
All right, so I'm going to do this. Before we go to the next paper, let's bring in our analyst, Deyemi Saka, so we can actually take a look at the 2 papers that were discussed as well. So let's start off with, I think my first question.
Okay,
yeah, go on. No, you go on.
No, I wanted him to react to Governor Fubara saying he has moved on. He's already in 2025.
Well, I've been saying this, and the 2 persons I will blame for what is happening in Rivers State is the president, commander-in-chief, and his national security advisor, for them considering the thoughts of coming up with political solutions or solutions to the crisis in Rivers State.
But they say it was playing a fatherly role now.
Which fatherly role? This I used to. I can't bite you on set. Don't worry. We'll talk about that later. But for me, that was placing a man above all institutions in the country, and that was wrong. And that emboldened the party in this conflict. And whether we like it or not, it can be interpreted as a tacit support or approval of either the conduct or misconduct of one man. I probably don't want to get it. When the people of River State really want governance and not politics year in, year out, they probably know what to do. The election will come up and they will decide who will give them governance and not who's going to play politics in 4-8 years. That's for me from Fubara. The people of River State and the governments of River State, with whatever they're doing, lay their beds with tons, and they're probably going to bleed in it.
It's a tough situation. It's either coming back, and we see ourselves talking about the story today.
And judiciary is not helping matters, the conflicting pronouncements,
Yeah.
and I think the law is clear. You should know what the law states. You shouldn't be, and it's just it's also with no intent to cast aspersion or bring the integrity of the bench to disrepute, but they need to do more in earning the confidence of Nigerians. That's why when you see pronouncements, conflicting pronouncements on an issue, on a single matter like this, you now start wondering, are you guys the dictates of politicians or sentiments and what have you? I don't know. We need to overhaul our system, or else we have a system collapse.
All right, let's talk about the major one, the one that concerns every single Nigerian now. 250,000.
Is it that one or the food?
On it. Well, food as well. But whether we like it or not, even if there's food, the purchasing power of that food is also a major problem. So 250,000 naira is what the NLC is going to request for today, and they're meeting with the president. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think if the Labour wants to step into that meeting with Mr. President, they should go on YouTube and dig up a short clip of Mr. President while he was running for office, and tell him, put the clip to him to
watch.
Yeah, that he said we'll reduce the purchasing power of the people, we'll slow down the economy, reduce the purchasing power of the people, and expand the tax rates. And that's exactly what he's doing. Probably when they put that video to him, he needs to explain to them, maybe that's why he's still insisting on 62,000 naira. And in line with reducing the purchasing power of the people, it's about devaluation of your currency. So they should tell him that, yes, you've done your policies, you've executed your political campaigns and promises. So this should follow suit. And that will make them get the commitment from Mr. President. And so the issue of food importation, I met some guys that told me that the reason why even the price of beans shot up was because bulk of the supply from Burkina Faso couldn't get into the country. That's how bad it is for us as a nation. And I like the attempt at the collective intelligence of Nigerians by the First Lady, trying to start gardening and saying everybody should embrace farming. I just laugh. I think they just throw things at us, dehumanizing us, not even thinking we want the decency to be treated like a human.
But was anything wrong? I mean,
please, for crying out loud, who brought this onto that ship on us? Why are you making it look as if Nigerians are lazy, they don't want to go to the farm? Or why must we go to the farm? The simple question is, should Tinubu in the farm? Or is he on the farm? No, let's get realistic. You don't make people, you don't pee on our face and tell us it's raining. It's insensitive. And what is the policy of this government to show there's food security? They're probably going to open up the borders. You're probably going to see more of fresh produce from Benin Republic and Togo and what have you. That's how bad we've come to as a nation. Takes us back into the issue of the livestock ministry. That was just an improved version of Ruga. Please, we're talking about the cost of governance. You're still creating a new ministry. And when you have some ghost workers as ministers, I can mention names. When last have you read anything about Oyetola?
As the Minister of Blue Economy.
What can you even talk about the blue economy? When last did the blue economy made the news? You have ghost workers as ministers. You are still trying to create ministers. Who knows who's going to be this minister? Maybe the chairman of Mieti Allah. And you created, and they're still demanding for more.
Well, the president also swore in 8 permanent secretaries yesterday. So there seems to be more employment especially in the ministry. But I get your point. I get your point.
Now, and a quick one for me from Punch, and I think I shared my thought before. I think there's a need for Nigerians to call the House of Representatives to order. There are two agencies or two institutions that are guilty of this thing is the House of Reps, the National Assembly, and the EFCC. The way they go at people with allegations, and you could see them, even they as much as take away the presumption of innocence from you, and they commit you to media trial, and conviction in public courts. And you look, let's backtrack. The only probe that has gotten us anywhere was the subsidy probe under the President Goodluck Jonathan that got us conviction. The rest is just jamboree. They just come to public, slander people, bully them into. They did it to Aruna Ote. He made allegations at some people and what have you. Opuzodema is now the governor of Imo State. They did the same thing to the MD of NDDC, while Akpabio was the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs. He made some damning allegations. The lady's credentials and what have you has been destroyed. Where is Akpabio now? The Senate President. You're doing this to the Minister of Women Affairs. So we're not holding bail for her. But why? The last week or 2 weeks ago, a Comptroller General of Customs slumped and died. Because probably you subject these guys to intense pressure and what have you. With total disregard to either their, you are might not be responsible for their state of health, but their reputation, their families, and what have you. This should stop. If you think you have enough probe against somebody, probably let the police do its job, or the DSS do the job. If you want to borrow from US, then let them take them to court. Enough of coming and ridiculing and rubbishing and slandering people, subjecting them to intense pressure for whatsoever reason. You saw some members of House of Representatives talking and speaking as if they had relationship with contractors. Like speaking, if a contractor, there's the industrial court, that you can settle your labor disputes. Why should you not take it upon yourself as House of Representatives and messing people up, discrediting their whatever under the clause of oversight function?
Without standing on the toes of anyone, they've also said that Nigerians have been asking for transparency now. So they are giving you the transparency. That's why they are putting it in public domain.
Physician heal thyself. Can every member of House of Rep give us a complete breakdown of the constituency allowance, how it's been expended? People they issue award the contracts to. Is that not a breach of procurement act? Most of them is about just awarding contracts to themselves or their cronies and what have you. I'm not making excuses for grafts in departments and MDAs. No, I'm not. But please, this should stop. This ridiculosity should stop. The governance is serious business, not razzmatazz, or you want to embrace the media every time to make it look as if you're working. Let the House of Reps start probing itself.
Anyway, let's take a look at the front page of Daily Independent, which we looked at earlier on. That front page, let's take a look at one of these stories there. Tinubu has closed doors to ministers, NAS members, according to Ndume. It says Tinubu has closed doors to ministers and National Assembly members, meaning that he's no longer welcoming them. Let them go and do their job. What's your take on that?
We opened the door by late 2025 or first quarter of 2026 for re-election. So, I don't know why, if you think you have any business with Mr. President and you want to take on public issues on issue of governance, you can summon into the National Assembly. You shouldn't be White House. Asu Rock is Asu Rock. The National Assembly is National Assembly. Like you said on the street, stay on your lane now. I think you guys have business together. Call him. If you think he has business, you guys are not member of the Federal Executive Council. And if he's a member of the Federal Executive Council that believes they don't have access to their principal, and that is hindering their performances or performance, they should resign. It's not a do or die affair. If some people can work under such conditions, fine. If they are not complaining, so who are you to complain on their behalf? That's how I say it. I'm not cutting the president some slacks. I'm not doing. Neither am I attacking the National Assembly or Senator Alain Dume. But the bottom line is, if you think there's a need for interaction, there are official channels to get that done. If you want to communicate things with Mr. President, there's the office of the SGF, there's the chief of staff. Why must you see the president? The president is not like a secondary school and is your head boy or sharing the same dormitory. Or your school father. No, he's not. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Not president of ministers or presidents or senators.
Okay. Let's look at another paper now very quickly. Let's take a look at the Vanguard. Yeah,
yes.
Olive.
On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, will regulate price of imported foodstuffs according to federal government. Conflicting court orders, CGN vows to deal with errant judges. Basic education, Nigeria needs 194,876 more teachers and 1,107,852 classrooms according to UBEC. We also have here, oil marketers short stations in Lagos as panic buying continues. That's not good. Enters protest, ECOWAS court finds federal guilty of rights violations. Minimum wage, Tinubu meets organized labor today. EFCC witness admits Emefiele's wife not beneficiary of CBN contract. And now let's move to the Daily Trust. On the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper, the final paper, because I had to use my line here. Bread beyond reach, citizens lament. Thankfully, the Holy Book says, man shall not live by bread alone. Bakeries shut down due to rising cost of production. Nigerians seek relatively cheaper foods. Government must act now, says Master Bakers. Thugs, residents clash in Rano over Sanusi's emissary. Borno government reintegrates 8,490 repentant Boko Haram members. I think we'll begin our conversation there. Conflicting court orders, CGN vows to deal with errant judges. Samoa reports federal government to await position of media ombudsman. NERC reels out new sanctions for discourse. Women minister reps in shouting match over alleged diversion of 1.5 billion naira. Tinubu has been fenced off by forces, according to Ndume. So let's start with Borno government reintegrating 8,490 repentant Boko Haram members. So the reintegration of people who were previously known as terrorists is something that has been applauded in some quarters, but criticized by many. The recent comparison I've had in this matter would be, I had a conversation where it was placed vis-a-vis the way that Nnamdi Kanu has been held by the government. They said Nnamdi Kanu isn't even a terrorist, yet he's not been allowed to, even though there have been several court judgments asking, saying that he should be let go, he should be granted bail, not let go, that he had still been held in custody. But whereas our government constantly is reintegrating people who have been known to actually be terrorists over and over again, forgiving them. So what are your thoughts, and what would you say to those who use this as an argument in favor of Nnamdi Kanu?
You could say probably my reaction to I'm trying to control my emotions. And some of us that have friends that have been killed by these terrorists, you probably want to frown at this, and you're probably looking at the facility of this proposal, this policy. Initially, there was a time I was frontal in accusing and hitting hard on the Nigerian army for coming up with this policy. We call it Operation Safe Corridor. The only thing that got the army involved is because it's a militarized zone and army is the one policing. That's why you find army involved. It must be put out there that it's a policy of former President Muhammadu Buhari, implemented and executed by the Ministry of Defense. And I cite instances, and I probably want to educate people. Firstly, I don't think America, the United States of America, has ever granted anybody held in Guantanamo Bay pardon. There are still people being held in Guantanamo Bay against, whatever you can think of, against acceptable human values. And I don't see, I would say this to you, there is no terrorist anywhere in the world that can be radicalized. And for this, to educate these people and for them to have an idea of what they're dealing with, because I guess a lot of them don't know anything beyond their environment. I probably was asked them to dig up a Hollywood flick series called Homeland. By the time you watch season 1, episode 1 to 5, you probably understand that you are just wasting your time. The idea shouldn't be thought of in the first place. The idea is inhumane. The idea is, and you see, there's sometimes you find somebody making ridiculous submission that they should be given foreign scholarships. To do what?
So maybe start a life.
You see,
Go to
we're on the global platform, so the choice of words must be very civil.
Absolutely.
I'm battling emotions there because I remember there was a time I was in Kaduna, and I walked into an office, and I was with an Air Force personnel and an OS of the bank, and the next thing the guy was talking, I was like, whatever, blah 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 blah. And I said his brother was his classmate. Our brother, sorry, was his classmate, was killed in Borno by Boko Haram. I've seen. You want to tell people because and I keep saying it, and I'll keep saying it. The disservice to this nation by the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari was the de-escalation or the classification of Boko Haram as bandits in Northwest and what have you. I don't tell people in Zamfara, I don't tell people in Kaduna that have lost their loved ones, that those guys have been radicalized and reintegrated to the society which they've wreaked havoc. Does it make any sense to you? There's a saying in Yoruba that a hawk never stops, never abandons stealing, never stops stealing to happen. Why is it that in any case they look at, okay, they release somebody from prison, maybe went to jail for rape, and there's a rape in the locality, the first suspect they go to is the same person. It's just like you've killed somebody, you've told the whole world that yes, you've crossed the threshold and you can always still kill. Now, what are you de-radicalizing them for? From what is the? And if you look at what they call de-radicalization, it's just pampering. Because for you to de-radicalize somebody, you first have to break the person. When you break the person's will, the person now listens to your dictates. These guys were not broken. These guys were just like you're negotiating with them.
The challenge is, according to the story, they are being integrated back into society. And a lot of them, we hear, would be given jobs so they can actually start off their life again. But we've asked you questions in this conversation. They can start their lives again. What about the ones they end?
You see, I think if you want to integrate them back into the society, there should be a process. And the only way you can integrate them into society, because jail, prisons, correctional centers is within the society. Let them have their time in court. The court sentence them to jail. Let them be integrated into society while in jail.
Well,
and you see, the downside of it is it's everywhere. You're telling somebody in the north that, well, you could take up criminality, become a Boko Haram terrorist or a bandit by classification, and in 3-4 years, if you are not killed, the government will come to you, beg you. You probably create a ministry for repentant Boko Haram and integrate back to the society. Just like you have in Lagos, the kids are hardly going to school. You say 14-year-old guy that is now what we call an Agbiru. Why they should be in school is on the street, threatening to break the wiper of a bus because he hasn't paid. And he looks, what can you tell him? Because he sees his seniors
doing it.
No, it's seniors now they're
in positions.
They're in positions. They have unfiltered access to people in public offices, building houses in Ikoyi. That's how much democracy, with all sense of respect, has corrupted our values as a nation.
Well, I don't know, but I think we've said enough, and the points have definitely been made clear. As we wrap up the papers this morning, just quickly, let's let our viewers know that you can also be part of the conversation by letting us know your thoughts on some of these stories, especially with the fact that Daily Trust says bread beyond reach. Bread is becoming a very, very golden food, especially here in Nigeria. People are struggling to actually buy now.
What is not expensive? What is not even expensive?
Everything. The
even water.
5,000.
The cost of flour apparently just got increased. So
Again.
I hear that the number of bakeries are already starting to shut down. I cannot believe, I couldn't believe that the day will come when I'll be buying bread for 2,000 naira. But that's what it was. I'm expecting that it would increase now.
I took a tour to a flour mill in Akwa Ibom under Hodom Emmanuel. By the time I met the manager, the guy on question said, we don't have enough wheat to produce flour in Nigeria. and we go as far as importing from Ukraine. That's why the Ukraine crisis shut up a lot of things in the world. Even when we tried the cassava alternative, that because of the processing of farmers, it has a lot of impurities and it couldn't meet up with, and definitely even when they told farmers in Nigeria to just produce for local production, Nigerian market, they couldn't meet up to a tenth of the demand.
Sad, very sad. Thank you so much for joining us on the papers.
Yeah, but a quick one from me.
Go on.
EFCC, with what they did to Emefiele, now they say a witness admitted that the Emefiele's wife is now, you see, just like I've said, people should just change their handshakes. Stop messing up people's reputation. Top media trial. Unfair.
Top media trial. That's what, I mean, you've highlighted here in the course of the front pages. And I hope that the authorities watching would start to think of another way, a conventional way of ensuring that they can actually get matters solved.